Hi, this is Thomas with Raul. Hopefully some other members will join us. Just a quick debriefing and follow up on the client meeting. Let me start with saying that I'm very impressed with your meeting skills, Raul. I think you've done a tremendously good job here. What are your thoughts?
Wasn't gonna be possible without you all, eh? Wasn't gonna be able to pull it without all of you guys. Really, I really appreciate such a good team to work with.
Well, you took a great lead on this one, so be proud. We should be proud as the rest of the team should be proud as well, but you took the lion's share of this burden. So really, I'm impressed. I mean, this is from what I understand at least a new situation for you, and I think you
completely the first time for me.
Yeah, but you have talent for those things, so that's good. That's good. So, but let's hear what are your thoughts, your reaction, and what was good and what was bad, what made you nervous, and where did you feel confident?
Okay, so well, in general, it went all good. I think I was more trying to avoid, promising stuff that I wasn't gonna be able to deliver with the team and all that. But I think that went pretty well. We handled that quite nicely. So yeah, in general, it was a good meeting. Well, for first one, it was a pretty good one, I must say. So yeah. I think we went over all of the stuff that we've implemented so far, and he's happy with them. Has a bit of change as well, small details as you saw, but I don't think it's gonna be hectic stuff to do really. Yeah.
One thing that is one thing that I found really exciting. It's a good feature, but requires a lot of thought, as Patrick pointed out as well, and you did. It's the inventory tracking. It's a very important feature, I think. So that's a goodie. The ingredients tracking is not a biggie at all. It's a very simple feature.
I think ingredients, we can just maybe have another text field where he's gonna just enter them.
Yeah.
Just one.
I mean, the ingredients feature is one that is potentially a pitfall. One can over-engineer that stuff instead of choosing the simplest solution available. And the simplest solution available is the one that you're talking about, is just adding another text field, and then the way we present it, whether it's in a tab or not a tab or whatever, it's just a matter of presentation. But yeah. So, but it's a cool one. And then of course the QR code is an interesting feature. I think it's fairly easy to implement for us to generate a QR code that is based on the order number ID kind of, and attach that to the email. So the client can the business owner can scan it when he leaves the food out, and that could be potentially it's an interesting learning experience. But because I have never implemented a hardware solution where you actually plug a QR reader into the computer and read that.
Well, nowadays, like, smartphones can do that. So if you have a phone that can read QR code, you can just.
But then you have to connect the phone to the system.
To some system, yeah. So I'd say maybe one thing to do that would be, I don't know if we have skills for that. Maybe some small application for mobile, just to sort of like have that feature of scanning. I think it's easier to implement with a phone rather than looking.
We can have a look at that. Sure.
Yeah.
So great.
So the other thing you mentioned, like something about live and all that. How does it usually work in terms of maintenance and all that?
Yeah. We don't do DevOps, or we don't do maintenance for clients. So we need to find some sort of solution for him. But let me think about that. It's a very tricky question because we are touching upon a service, that we would provide to the client, and then we should charge for it or not, and is this non-profit, etc., etc. So it's a very tricky question. I catch that because I was watching the recording while I was cooking. So I don't have any definite answer on that. My first instinct says, okay, let's offer him this as a service, but it's not that easy because then we have to invoice him and then we have to pay taxes on that, etc., etc. So, but as you said, as you pointed out to him, we found somehow. Whether it's in the framework of Agile Ventures or if we can find somebody locally, I mean, he operates his so he operates his business in the proximity of hundreds of people that are technically skilled. So potentially somebody could offer him this as a service, to run this application on some sort of application platform or whatever.
Well, you have a good documentation and shouldn't be difficult. I see Patrick has joined.
Perhaps you should turn off your video because your bandwidth is suffering. Great, I think it's going to be better. How's it going, Patrick? What did you feel about just a quick debrief on this meeting? How did you find this?
I thought it was really good. I thought we covered most of the areas. I do think that we maybe don't need to demo every acceptance test in the app because we're not doing acceptance testing just yet. But and I think the other thing is the ratio of him talking to our talking was way on the side of us doing most of the talking. Maybe in the next subsequent meetings he'll do more talking. You know what I mean?
But he picked up the pace at the end of the meeting, didn't he?
He did. Yep.
Yeah.
It's
a new situation for him as well, I think. So but it's a good observation there, Patrick. But I think we'll be better off next time.
Yeah. So overall, it's good. I thought it went well.
I know Thomas and you guys were taking notes, right? So I couldn't do that while I was managing all this.
I was taking notes. Not on everything, mostly on the questions that I had, Raul, so I could come back to them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you covered most of the questions that he had. The inventory tracking came up, the ingredients came up, the upper limit. Yeah, that's inventory tracking. Some sort of a counter of sold dishes per day. That's a feature. I didn't quite understand why he wanted this. I jotted down paranoia. There is a paranoia gem in for Rails that never deletes something from the database, but rather marks it as deleted, but it's persistent in the database. We could easily implement that for him. Although I don't see a clear business case for that, since deleting an instance of a menu item or an order is, it's a secure deletion because you're actually prompted with a question. Do you really want to do this? So I would say that this paranoia implementation would be a little bit of an overkill. But we can do that if he wants that.
Well, to me, that's. When I heard that, I didn't talk to him about this because I didn't want to open another area of inquiry, but to me that's related to old menus that have expired. Do we want to keep them around so that he can see old menus and reactivate them or reuse them? Or do we just delete them? If we keep old menus around, then the menu items associated with those menus should also be kept around.
Yeah.
Right now, kind of our default situation, we haven't talked about this, is we'll probably just delete old menus, or we keep them around, but if you try to access a menu item in an old menu that has been deleted, we'll just say we're missing that menu item. So it's a bigger thing, and I don't really want to bring that up at this point because he may say, yeah, I'd like to keep historical menus, but the question is there a real business case for that? And it's hard to see at this point.
It's a valid point. Let's think about that, because what we could do is that, a menu item that is associated with any upcoming or old menus is not able to be deleted. That's a feature we could develop.
Right.
You try to delete something that is associated with something. You are just being prompted. I can't do that because there is an association pending. But what we could do, we could add an attribute to the menu item with a flag, active or inactive. So if you no longer cook chicken tandoori, for instance, but you have old menus with that dish on it, you just mark it as inactive, and then you don't see it anymore on when you create menus, basically. So I would say that's one approach.
Okay.
And there may be some implications for VAT reporting. You may have to do VAT reporting by item, in which case we have to recover menu items that are no longer current on menus.
Yes.
So you sold them in the past.
Good point. Good, because that's the fact. That's a fact. You have to. Well, it's not necessary for VAT reporting, but you are required by law to keep your records of every sale for, I think it's 7 years or something here in Sweden. So you shouldn't be able to, because when we generate reports, we generate them on the fly, so they have to access the database instances. Yes, so that's a valid point you have there. Yeah, we should keep everything around, but just switch them on and off, between visible and disabled when the necessity arises.
So if he creates a menu item and he never uses that in a menu, then he can delete that menu item. Otherwise, he can just disable it and it stays in the database, but it's not available for new menus.
Yeah. So we should write that up as a chore or as a feature, actually, in Pivotal Tracker, because that's fairly important, I think.
Yeah.
And and another thing that I think we should have in this iteration is the reporting. Weekly reports at least. He doesn't have to. I've checked with the Swedish Tax Authority. He doesn't have to provide daily reports with this level of. It depends a little bit on how much revenue you have in your business. On the level that he operates on right now, it's sufficient with a weekly or even monthly report to the Internal Revenue Service. But still, we could start scaffolding some sort of a report generator, and there is this gem called Prawn that generates PDF files. I've used it on some projects.
Yeah, I also used it.
Yeah, it's a big pain in the ass, basically, but yeah.
You can say that again.
So yeah, but so what we could do, we could write up a story, a feature about setting up the framework for the report generator. Then within that, we could have different sets of reports to call. I think, yeah.
Right.
But now we're getting a little bit out of scope of this debriefing. But that's what happens, with developers. But overall, let's not be too. Don't have this meeting for too long. Generally speaking, Raul, I just say it again. I'm mighty impressed. And Patrick, thank you for following up with all the questions that you obviously prepared for them. I catched the end of the meeting. And it's very good that you stepped in and took a lead on some of the outstanding questions that you had. It was great. And yeah, so let's just keep on working. I feel enthusiastic about this.
Yep, absolutely.
We're gonna get a pull.
Yeah, and so the image thing is happening, and Raul, you and Aaron will start working on that ordering functionality. Yeah, great. A little bit about pages and some other stuff that is required of the. I mean, we don't have to fill them with content, but we can create some lorem ipsum ish about my business page or something. And then if because at some point, perhaps the client would like to use this Angular app, even though it's
Yeah,
just
that's
proof of
the
concept.
feeling I'm getting.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. So for me, when we add this image thing, I'm gonna have to add image links to the API output. Yeah.
There's also something we need to discuss, but I think we can do that tomorrow. The structure of the API for menus. I think maybe I will create a story on that on Pivotal Tracker, then we can discuss it.
Yeah, just let me know what sort of fields you would love, you must see.
And how I would like to have it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. Okay, guys. Take it easy.
Okay.
Live long and prosper.
Ciao. Have
All
a
right.
good evening.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.